sure, yeah, it was, yes. Yes, of course.
Yeah, exactly. What? You're putting out store-bought cookies on our table? Where do you think you are?
They're fancy. I looked for gluten-free and didn't see any, so I'm sorry.
So funny.
Are we here too early?
Hello.
Okay, we will.
Oh, look at that. Big huge thing of cheese.
What can we do? Yeah, we want to.
All right,
you can eat.
I'm out.
Let's sign in.
All right, that was Fisher.
It'll be like a little.
Okay, I'll put them in a bowl or a plate, okay?
Yep, got some of those.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
There's a ranch dip, but it looks like we're good.
Here's one of and I've got another box of
Oh,
crap.
you take some out right there.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to put it as a separate, if someone was not allergy, I'm just really,
don't even have to do
No, we can. I just don't want to mix them in with everything else in case there's some, and maybe we should keep them, we'll put the box behind them.
Yeah, that's not good.
Okay.
Whatever. Here's these two.
Turkey over, so we have to.
Oh, wait, I know it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Other hat.
Yeah.
Well, and tell her about your guidelines you developed.
Yeah, so in relation to that, I did a legal guideline. Non-pharmacological methods for Jewish murder. Along with that, we want to get a comp plan for the LIC.
You don't have enough left for 3 of them.
Actually order,
I couldn't remember that.
oh, that formula, okay.
We're aware of that.
Guidelines. Green water.
You're all set.
So it's totally left.
Okay. This is the last of the broad new ones. For instance, more question. What's that?
I think we're good with the brackets before you open those.
Okay.
I'm shoveling for a steaming now. Because I dropped it for this. Yeah, put the wrench out too. That's good. Yeah. Right, another. Okay.
They let one picture go.
Yeah. Oh, good.
And that was like within the last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to open these pies or just leave the thingies on top?
I think we should open them.
I know.
And you know, I got a.
This is a thing.
And you smell that now.
It's another thing.
All right.
Oh, is that Jezebel sauce over here?
Yeah.
Or
What
pepper
is
jelly?
Jezebel? Oh, is that what that is?
Pepper jelly or Jezebel cream.
I don't know what Jezebel sauce is.
Really good. It's something you put together. Usually it's like pineapple and horseradish. And
Ooh, really?
It's a really good combo.
Wow.
We have enough whipped cream cheese. We have another. Oh my goodness.
Right. Maybe this is
Underneath the table.
Yeah.
Yes,
It might be pepper jelly.
Really? Like red pepper jelly?
I think so.
Yeah, all of them do like.
I don't know about that,
I
but.
put the extra
I'll
ratchet
let
behind
me let
there.
somebody else open that one.
Almond butter? Here we go. Could be our taste tester. I'm the taste tester.
Wonderful.
Sign in, I put it outside.
You put almond butter?
Did everyone have a chance to sign in?
Sorry, girlfriend.
Yeah.
or something.
You mean Janet Jackson?
Oh, yes.
Enjoy.
Let me make more room here. I'm gonna get all of this out on the table.
All your gear, all your
All my stuff.
Do you want, I don't know if you want to sign in.
Oh, yeah.
Got 5 minutes.
PTA, 5 minutes.
But it's good for probably you.
Hat.
When I would hold it like this. This thing, I don't know. It's gonna be, I'm gonna write this in on my survey. Do not like the mic.
See, that would be helpful. You get all kinds of pages, calls, you call, got your Janet Jackson.
Marsha has one of those.
Yeah, and then you get some rollerblades. You could get all kinds of work done.
Yeah, I use one. It just feels.
This is a just.
Are you speaking to it?
Yeah. And the camera's on this room.
Good.
So if you want to be on the camera.
No, I do not want to.
Well, for the people who, you know, may not know you, you could walk over to that side.
Yeah, that's all right.
We want to see you.
Do I need to turn this on or automatic?
It's on.
Okay. Oh, great.
Whoa,
looks
just
like
belly up to everyone. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that. Nice idea. Oh, lemon.
Yay, Randy.
Hello.
Wearing them.
No one else shows up. We'll have lunch.
Your little, we're gonna have fun anyway.
Oh, is that how it works?
This is new, right?
I'm not gonna get that in jail.
I don't know, this thing, I don't like this. What? Do you need that up there?
Oh, no, did you put that
No,
up?
Right here.
From where I started.
Oh,
Actually, that's not the.
I was gonna say, is that an old one?
I first started in like 3 years.
Oh, my gosh, yeah, somebody else figured that out. He doesn't need to, I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have it.
Oh, you too? Wow, okay.
Well, Bob's gonna try to join us, Randy, by
Oh,
phone.
nice.
Yeah, I know it, I'm really pleased.
That's interesting. You like that? Daddy.
That's cute.
Oh, I get it.
Click share is red. That's fine.
It's like, yeah, and if it blinks out, we can continue again. I could monitor our 2 hours.
Yeah, I think I just saw the thing on.
Let's get this on.
So give it a chance, give it an opportunity. Yeah, give an opportunity.
I'm over here. Yeah, yeah.
All right, now try to pull it off.
I just have a feeling.
Got it. It's just harder.
Go, girl.
I know, I like, oh, wait, there's good one. There's not much in there. I know.
That's all right, I made it. I got to forget about it in a minute.
Okay.
And it'll go away.
Yay, welcome.
Thanks.
You have a lot of lyrics.
I have this, you can try this, but.
I love it. My new favorite thing. I carry it. I bring it to work every day because it holds
That's a good one.
much.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Like that, because I can fill up with water every morning.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
get water in.
It's totally a better size than this one. I don't know. I like it, but it is hefty. You know.
Yeah.
So it's good for work.
Right.
It's not really good if you're
Like walking around and stuff, yeah,
But I love it.
that's awesome.
I know,
That's better.
wow.
Oh, my goodness.
No. I never go anywhere without my bottled water. I live in fear of needing a drink and not having it.
Is it really water in there now?
Well, yeah, that's why I live in fear of having it so hard to drink.
Awfully happy.
I know, right?
You always seem absolutely
Because I always have
happy.
water in my bottle. That's my husband. He's like, tell those people who work with you who think you're happy all the time. Tell them to ask me.
Oh, right.
Funny. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, my God. This will be so good.
It was the closest thing I could find to me that I
That's
was willing to
awesome.
go there.
That's so good.
I don't think it's a bad idea. No. I don't know if because if I feature the mindfulness, if I feature each of the comments, yeah. I can talk about it, yeah, because, it's certainly of value. I don't think they realize. No, I don't think they do either. Tofu salad. Anybody want that? Oh, really?
We're orienting our new,
I think
our new old person. She and I used to work together before Beth,
get our lunch.
you know, it was me by myself. And then after I met like 20 years ago, yeah, little, and after like 2 years of that, I was like, you know, after 60 hours a week. Yeah, so it took like another year to get that through, and I ended up with someone else, and we worked together for 5 years, and then she left, and then Carolyn came, and she and I, at that point, we were both like part-time, and, so, like, we worked 3 days one week and 2 the next. So we worked together for years, and she, her family moved to Charlottesville. So, and then she was doing other stuff, she wasn't doing any of those years, so, but a lot of it, you know, didn't take long for it to come back. But then, you know, after, but yeah, but they were saying, she happily moved back to the area, and she applied for the job, like, we were literally offered somebody else, and Cheryl, person was, who didn't have any experience, but, you know, we were trying to, yeah, my gosh, and all of a sudden, I had a bunch of cancellations today, and I was like, I don't care how long it takes me to find the building or the room. But then, you know, the whole process all over again. Yeah, we had that.
I just did, I kind of talked to our pre-doctoral intern on Friday, so I'm super excited to know what all they left out.
It should have been.
I say, come on over.
Oh, no. If you want, it's hard, find a team. That was pretty much true.
I think that's the thing that's like rupture.
I gotta play it.
Yeah, that'd be good. Someone should have.
Yeah, a pleasant surprise. Oh, they're tasting in the future. I was trying to.
In my mind, they don't trust me.
Everyone's right now. Everyone wants to do the right thing, and
Sometimes you see the signal of electric from where it's just. Wow. How are you?
Good. David Watt came into,
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, he's our point man.
Yeah, good. Really good.
So fun. Like your hair. Oh, because I'm sure you've changed it a couple times since I've seen you, right? I'm always late.
Oh, gosh.
Go through all those iterations, right?
It starts getting longer, gets on your nerves. Yeah, you got it.
Mine just gets grayer. I'm hoping for white. I'll take a love Kathy's hair. I love it.
When she started doing it, really good. And she didn't know her family hated it. But she embraced it now.
Not like.
Right, yeah. Oh, one for this one time, one of us.
Okay. You know, and that's the only thing. Right, and they have to go anyway for everything.
Yeah, my sister May I say hello to all of you. I'm Pam Hines, and I have the great privilege of being the person now sitting in the endowed chair on Conway, Mr. and Mrs. Lisa Conway. Wonderful partners for nursing here and in the community. We are incredibly grateful for their generosity, and also for the nurses, the physicians, and other colleagues here who helped to create the endowed chair. Thank you all. Now, the purpose of the Conway Chair Conversation is very much to create a lively conversation. So the scholars will take on starting the conversation, but everyone in the room is a conversationalist. And that means that you add to the richness of the discussion. So part of what we try to do is to demystify research process, and the life of a person involved in research. And so today we are definitely going after how do you wear two hats at the same time? How do you participate in any aspect of research while you are doing your other job too? At some point you will see Dr. LaFond, who will lead the conversation, lead us in putting on two hats. So as part of the Conway Chair Conversation, we have Conway research scholars. And I want to be sure that you know them because they really are people to know. Dr. Vicki Friedenberg, right over here. Dr. Lisa Ring, Dr. Janet Gazio, the head of the table, Dr. Debbie LaFond. And it's just a real privilege to have them here. They represent the sector of independent research, research translation, and it's a real thrill for us. Also at the head of the table, Dr. Randy Streisand, who leads psychology here for research and practice, and she is our moderator, and you will hear the very welcome perspective of a lead psychologist, which is a privilege to hear her. Joining us soon on the phone, if he's not already there, is Dr. Bob McCarter. Just a terrific conversationalist. And he is also going to be commenting on trying to conduct research while you're also doing your other job as a statistician. He had one competing commitment, so he might join us a few moments. So as we do our conversations, we try very hard to start out talking about maybe a complex issue that's quite relevant to the day's conversation, but is in addition to the conversation. So today we're going to talk about self-plagiarism, real briefly. So let me start out by asking you, would you say out loud a word or two that for you reminds you of the meaning of plagiarism? Not self, but plagiarism. What word or two would immediately come to mind when you think of plagiarism?
Stealing.
Theft. Stealing.
Copying.
Copying. Taking somebody else's work. Taking credit. Unattributed. Sorry? Unattributed. Ooh, unattributed.
Yeah.
All right, so now, can you steal from yourself? Can you commit theft against your own words? Your thoughts?
That makes sense.
Okay.
with a group of authors, and you copied from your own manuscript, even though you were the author of it, and you put that same exact method section into a new paper, you are self-plagiarizing. You might have written the original draft, but now it's been copyrighted by something else, and you don't have ownership of the full words, right?
Really, David's point being raised, well, thank you, which is who is self? Is self the individual or is self the team? Who is self? Okay, other thoughts?
Is it also selling yourself short?
Ooh, say more about that. Sorry, Dr. Mulray is saying, with self-plagiarism, is selling yourself short.
So instead of stealing, not taking credit.
Ooh, how could that happen?
I can't imagine.
Yes, all right.
Yeah, but if you don't feel like you can speak up and say that to me, that is that.
Ooh, so almost ghost authorship there, not acknowledging that you were the author. That's a really interesting point. All right. Thank you. Other thoughts about can you steal from self? Really nice one. So just to share with you that the stance from the APA current edition, which I think is the 6th, I keep waiting for the 7th, is that indeed there is self-plagiarism, and it's a problem. And it's a problem exactly as you have said, which is you're duplicating your own words to a great extent. It can be a few words, it can be entire paragraphs. And people might think it's quite fitting. And I'll share with you an anecdote of a colleague who thought it was quite fitting. But if it is done without attributing the original source, then it is in fact self-plagiarism. Interesting. This becomes a problem in a couple of ways. So I'm going to share with you this anecdote, and please, if you would, please write up about where you see self-plagiarism. So we know that when journals receive an original manuscript immediately, without pause, it goes into a software program that very quickly calculates the coefficient of similarity with previously published work. If your coefficient is too high, the journal sets its own coefficient by type of submission, and that is not accepted into the peer review system. You're saving peer reviewers time and effort for a piece that is not eligible for peer review. So as an editor of a journal, I have to make those decisions. The coefficient is lower for original work than it would be for systematic review, meta-analyses, meta-syntheses, and so on. So I received an original piece, and immediately the coefficient came back, and it was too high to allow that piece into our peer review system. Just so happened that the first author was a great colleague of mine, so of course the letter went back and cannot accept this into our peer review system because of this reason. I immediately got a hot telephone call, and we had the world's best exchange. And she was explaining that for her, and she's well-funded, receives large grants, and when she's publishing, she verbatim uses the very same method section. And she feels that this is a recipe, and that was her quote, just a recipe. So the recipe keeps getting put into manuscript after manuscript after manuscript. And so I said, well, gee, from an editor's viewpoint, how many recipes do you need if you use the same ingredient in the public domain? If it's the very same set of ingredients, wouldn't you just cite the original source and save the state for the very, which is a very limited resource now for published papers. We just don't have a lot of space. And a lot of our published papers now are very much in the public domain, very available to people around the globe in ways that they weren't at one time. We had a great discussion, and then I went on to say, but in copyright, when we sign as authors copyright forms, we say that this content has not been previously published in section or whole. And we're committing then to the publisher that this is original work, originally saved. So in fact, if we commit that, we've made a pledge, a promise, a statement of attestation to a publisher has nothing new here, has been many of you use this in your studies, but it really goes right after why it is that self-plagiarism exists and is a problem. Let me read you one set of guidelines that comes from the published literature about self-plagiarism, and this is how to avoid self-plagiarism. The first one is that if you've already disseminated this previous work and you're listing parts of it for our future publication, clearly indicates to the editor and the reviewers that this is from a previous body of your own work. Next guideline is that if it's coming from a very complex study and you want to present the whole, don't slice and dice and have multiple publications when in fact the greater hit, the greater achievement of becoming a classic paper would be one of the whole. And because some instances of self-plagiarism might be acceptable, just be really familiar with the copyright law. If you're going to do this, reach out to the publisher and ask, to what extent can I plagiarize myself? And then the final guideline, while there might be some rare situations where recycling of your previous written word is acceptable, the recommendation is to adhere to what's called the spirit of ethical writing and avoid reusing our own previously published work. So let me go to our moderator for just a moment. Dr. Spice, would you like to add anything to that?
Would I like to add anything? I appreciate you bringing this up because I do think I can understand what your colleague said about the methods section if you're writing many papers from the same research project. And I definitely have taken sentences. I can't say that I've just plugged in my entire methods section. I don't know how journals would feel about not including anything in the methods and just referring the reader to a previously published paper, because I think people want to actually see what was done while they're reading it and not have to go back and find something else. So I haven't really seen that done for a whole section before. I don't know how realistic that would be. So I think you've given a lot to think about. I'll be keeping in mind for next writing, because I absolutely have also taken from grants. So a grant submission where I've had a nice, 2-page significance. I've certainly taken pieces of that and put into a paper. It made that a little different if the grant is not published.
Not in the public domain.
Right.
No easy access to it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So just good to think about. I don't know if anyone else has.
Other comments?
I actually have a couple.
Great.
So I'm a writer and editor by trade, and I will say that I've done some work for some researchers where the methods section was basically the same over and over, but we would actually write it fresh each time, and because after a while you get to know that so well, you can just kind of go from memory. Alternatively, what you might do is put in an abbreviated method section so that you still give it a high-level overview for the people who want to know that, and then also refer to the previous work. So that might be sort of your in-between.
I think that could work, yeah.
I do too. Thank you so much. Great. All right, so just to conclude, so that we can get to Dr. LaFond's conversation, and in that anecdote, my good colleague resubmitted for her top-notch manuscript with a greatly altered method section, and the coefficient of similarity went down by 18%. Beautifully done. And so then I could move into peer review. All right, so Dr. LaFond is going to welcome you to the November discussion.
Thank you. So thank you for hanging out with me today to talk about wearing many hats. And I already took liberties with the title because as I was preparing this, I thought it's not just 2 hats. It's way more than 2. So where this really came from is, as a Conway Scholar, I have monthly meetings with Dr. Hines as my mentor, and I felt like every single time I met with her, it was well, I didn't get to this because I've been on service, or I'm, spending part of my scholarly time just catching up on clinical work, those kinds of things. It's not going at all. Oh, this might be a problem. So, really the objectives of today are just, if you think that you're going to have, big answers, you may not know any. You may not get them. But what I realized was I had all these balls that I was trying to keep in the air, and some of them were getting dropped. And what are the things that were really important to me that I didn't want to break? And I like this quote because when we think about, our work life, and I put research really in there, it's a rubber ball, right? If I drop it, it's going to come back. The research is still there. I can, I may be delayed in getting it done, but it's still going to be there. But the things that are really, really important to me, my family, my friends, my faith, maybe if I'm dropping those are going to break, and I'm not going to have that support again. So that's the background of this. So I just ask you really to listen to my journey and bear witness today, and then maybe you're going to come up with a grand idea for me on how to balance this all. And so where I found myself was in miserable corner here, just feeling like I wasn't doing anything well. I think that I'm still a good clinician, and I was spending a lot of time with my patients and families, and I sure hope it hasn't trickled down to that, but all of these other things, I was just feeling like, well, I'm just miserable because, oh boy, the meeting with Dr. Hines is coming up, and I have nothing to report, that kind of thing. Not that she ever, slapped my hand for that. But, so these are the things, and this is just things that I thought of that I need to balance, and, I'm coming from the framework of myself as a clinician. So my clinical practice and, research, evidence-based practice, QI, all those initiatives, education and professional development, and, the faith, family, and friends that I talked about, and then self-care, and then, oh, guess what, we got to get up and do it all again tomorrow, right? So what I really strive to do in this is find my rhythm, right? I can't have it all. I wish I could have it all, there's all these, maybe all of you are super women and men in this room, and you can do it all and never have an issue with it. But I'm really trying to find my rhythm with what are the things that matter to me the most, and how can I make sure that I pay homage to all those. So you're going to see me today put on some different hats. So this is my nursing school hat. You can see it's been hard. It's only the second time ever worn. First when I passed my course, and the second time now. And so when I think about a busy clinician, I see my colleagues are putting on their hats. Thank you. How come their hats are fun and I have a clinical hat on? This is a problem right here. So when I finished my doctoral studies in 2013, my DNP capstone was a great success, and guess what? A new service came out of that. So then I moved from one job where I felt comfortable and competent to another job where I not only had to do the clinical work, I also had to take on program development things. And this morning in our IDP, we went around and said about things that we were thankful for. And I'm really thankful for that because in 2013, to sit and look at a table of, I don't know, Deb, what were there, like 15 people there? I would have never thought that we would have had that because there was this feeling of doing it on my own. But guess what? When you're doing it all your own, you can just manage yourself, right? But now when you got 15 people to think about, you got to do all kinds of things. Well, patients and families always come first for me. That's who I want to be at the center of everything that I do. And while I can spend 5 extra minutes with patient A and 5 minutes extra with patient B and 5 minutes extra with patient C, 5 minutes doesn't seem like a big deal, right? But over the course of the day, now it's several hours that you have spent in a good way in doing what my heart wants to do in spending with patients. So time is always challenging, right? How do I balance all this out? And, in palliative care, which is what my primary practice is, you go in thinking you're going to have a 10-minute visit. Guess what? It's now been an hour and a half, and you have this mother who's grieving and falling apart in front of you, and I can't get up and say, oh, guess what? It's my Pepecta time now. I need to leave, right? So also just maintaining competence, right? I need to maintain competence as a clinician. I need to keep on doing that. I need to keep on seeing patients. I need to do all of the things that I need to do to continue competence. But don't confuse your career with having a life, right? So then I decided that, well, maybe I want to do research, right? So I go to school. And I get a DMP. And as part of that, I was very blessed to get a grant from the Sojourn Scholars Leadership Program with the Canby Health Foundation. But be careful what you wish for, because I thought, oh, this is great. Leadership development, it's going to give me some great expertise in QI and all of that. Well, it was successful, all right. It counted for 50% of my time for a defined period of time, right? That time has now ended. So how do I keep on that successful project and also take on other things at the same time? And along with the success comes a lot of other opportunities, right? So then you get invited to do all these presentations or invited to participate in scholarly writing opportunities and all of these wonderful things, which are great scholarly work and a wonderful outcome of what I was trying to do and have developed me as a leader. But guess what? I still have patience. I still have to finish my research work. I still have my faith and family and friends that I need to worry about. And then what happens when the grant fund comes to an end, right? So that money that protected me for 50% of my time is gone. Now I need to be back in the clinical, I need to do my job, right? But I also have all of these other interests and other things that I want to do. Okay. So, again, the best laid plans, right? Success is a double-edged sword. Success is a wonderful thing, and success gave me a lot of opportunities, but it also brought a lot of obligations that I wasn't always so, successful in balancing. But what I have learned slowly is how to say no to things, right? Because sometimes you just have to say no because you can't take that on. And then I had an interesting thing happen to me, which again was a blessing and a curse at the same time. I had a defined amount of money in my budget with my grant, right? And we had a budget and I was adhering to all of that. And then I find out, and based on the confidence of this room and then the confidence of whoever's online, that when the check came for the second year, it was never cashed. So at the end of, not by me, but by the grant office. So when it came time for my end of grant summary, there was a $90,000 balance in my budget. And I'm like, what do you mean? So I had to do a no-cost extension, which was great with a funder. They were allowing me to do that. But my clinical protected time had ended. And then I was taking on Conway at the same time. So it was great to have all this money, but now I have two sets of responsibilities. So I also came to find that a lot of time that we call work is not necessarily spent in our office, right? It may be meeting with other people. It may be, just strategizing in ourselves. So I spend a lengthy commute. Those of you know me, hear me complain about this all the time. But I spend a lot of time strategizing in my car. So using and I tell a lot of people off, I think, in my car too, probably. So, yeah, there you go. It's a good place. I know people driving probably think I'm a raving lunatic, like killing, no bad hand gestures, but there are some hand gestures. So I do try to take the best use of my time as possible and try to think of where are some creative opportunities that I could do some of this work. But maybe that's in the shower, maybe that's in your car, or some place where you can go to really think about things and, utilize some of your time in a little bit more productive way. So then, there's all that I have to put on both hats now because there is that education and professional development, right? You saw on that first slide, I have all of these credentials after my name, right? They all come with some kind of continuing education requirement. So I have to keep up with all of those, And then again, what about all these presentations? That's fantastic. I will say that I do probably a lot more presentations than I do writing, and I'm purposely trying to switch that. That's one of my goals for this year. But that comes with travel, right? So then you have all of your travel time, and you have your time that it takes to prepare prepare the presentation and all that, and it's a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful networking opportunity that sometimes, again, gets you more than you might be thinking about. And then scholarly writing opportunities as well. So, wow, we've had a lot of those. And those of you who are prolific writers, Deb Fisher writes all the time, and it just seems to just come right out of her. Not me. I have to really think about what I'm going to write, and so it takes some time for me to really get things down on paper and to get things done. So it's a real process for me. So then, what about the 3 F's, right? So my faith, my family, and my friends. I wanted to have a church hat, one of those hats women wear to church. But instead, this is my bad hair day hat. And so, thinking about, I can't even see out of this. What gives you your strength in your most difficult times? And for me, that's my faith, right? So I want to maintain, going to church and having my personal time, but I also would like to be more involved in my faith community, and I don't have time to do that, so that's a struggle for me. And then my family, right? So appreciating the people who support me. I remember many years ago, one of my sons said they had to write a letter for something, and now he's 30, but at the time he wrote this letter that could just put a knife in me and turn it. But Mom, I know you can't always be there for the important things, but I know you're doing important work. And I'm like, okay, well, just kill me now. I have not succeeded as a mother either. But I also have to remember that my family have problems too, right? They have their own things going on. And so while they're being a support for me, I need to be a support for them too. So that takes a little bit. And then if any of you watch Grey's Anatomy, you'll understand this find your person thing. That's why this picture is here. Your friends, who get it are really important. I have many friends who we have nice phone calls on the way home many, many times. I have a good friend on the West Coast that we do the same job, and so we often will call back and forth. So find your person who gets it, who gets you, who isn't trying to solve your problem. I don't know about you guys, but my husband wants to solve it all the time. He doesn't even know what I do here, so how can he possibly solve it? He's a good man. I'm really thankful for him, but he can't solve it. These ladies, and they are ladies that are my people, they just listen. They don't have to solve it. They just say, I hear you. I hear you. I've been in a similar place. I understand what you're going through. And so finding your people, I think, is really important. So I think, to sum it all up, I like this quote by Michelle Obama, is that we need to do a better job of putting ourselves higher on our own to-do list, right? We need to take care of ourselves before we can take care of others. And just like you hear on the airplane, put your oxygen mask on first before you try and help anybody else. So establish priorities, what are the most important things to you? And maybe today it is research. Like today, research is important to me. I'm not saying it's not any other days, but this is a Conway day, and I know that that's what I'm going to do all day long. But sometimes work has to suffer, or does it? Can you find creative ways of doing something? We're finding a team of people who can help you, engaging others in your work. But also remembering that if we don't take care of ourselves, who's going to, right? Nobody's going to, take care of ourselves. And this is embarrassing to say, my son gave me, for Mother's Day, a massage gift certificate. I still have not used the massage. And every day I think about it, but I haven't used it yet, so I'm going to do that. So again, thinking about, taking care of yourself, failure in our work, this says company, this quote here from the co-founder of Twitter, which I found interesting because people who are on Twitter a lot. But, failure of your work, failure of your research, failure is not a failure in life, but failure in the things that really are most important to you is failure. So this is my current self-care strategy, watching the top 10 Hallmark movies. Just add hot chocolate and cookies. I did that this weekend. It was great. So I want to stop there, and I really want to open it up for discussion at this point and hear from you all. How do you bridge your worlds of clinical practice and research? What great ideas do you have? Because right now I feel like I'm in the middle of that bridge, and it's either jump and maybe anybody wants to jump with me, we can hold hands and have a kumbaya moment. Or is there a way that we can move strategically back and forth between two worlds?
And I'm going to pass the microphone to the next person who's ready to offer a comment.
You thought you were going to get solutions, but they're not coming from me.
A colleague of mine, Dr. Lynn Patton from the VA.
Hi, I feel like I should say this. I did a peds postdoc. So for all of you who do geriatric postdocs and a lot of peds, no, so I'm a rehab psychologist, and I have had the good fortune of knowing Pam in multiple settings. So I just did, and it's actually possibly reflective maybe of our personalities or the way we think or the way we work. So I'm a rehab psychologist, so I'm really all about like just right size challenge, structural interventions to maximize, performance and function. And I did a talk like this for our pre-doctoral psych interns on Friday, and I found you're so inspiring. And now I'm like, wow, I tried to inspire them, and then I basically told them it's hard. So if it's hard, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Right? Because I think there's a real ability to be like, this should be easier, or apparently, I missed your name, but you are apparently a wonder writer. Yeah, I'm friends with people like that. And so, I'm not a wonder writer, I'm a wonder talker, which is not always valuable. But it's hard, but to find a team, I have produced more with other people, like working closely with them and choosing kind of people who are complementary to my strengths. One of my favorite papers I ever wrote, I was sick and I wasn't sick, my kids were sick, and I couldn't come into the office, and so I called my social psych collaborator, and I was like, yeah, it's not gonna get done today, so what would you like to do? And she goes, I'd like for you to just talk and I'll type. That was Becky. Yeah. And it was magic. And then we did every paper together like that. It was awesome because then she took because I had the clinical stuff and she had the science-y decision-making stuff, and so we made that work. So that was find the right partners. And I look at all of that from, I'm talking way too much and I'll stop after this, a strengths perspective, the parts that you're super excited about, those are the parts you should do. And the parts that you hate doing, that you don't, ask your collaborators to do or assign to your students, because how could anyone enjoy that? It turns out other people do. Who knew? We kind of in grad school, at least for me, you get the I hate data analysis. I love data analysis. That's an easy split, but there are other ones too, right? And so that's one thing. Find a team and find a complementary team because it's hard. And then the other thing around it's hard is it's just, I don't know, you've referred to it, and maybe some of y'all in here are also working parents. And so, if you allowed work, it would suck up all your life, and if you allowed your children, they would suck up all your life. They may be slightly less appreciative, but they'd suck it all up. And so when I was a postdoc and I was in that crazy, my 1-year-old, and we just moved, I should be home more. Except I don't want to be home more. I just want to sleep more. And I found the image of sort of this idea of searching for balance, and I think it's true in this piece, is the tension, if you think of it like a seesaw, the tension is the balance, right? A seesaw doesn't just come and stand still. I don't have a real good understanding of physics, but there's upward and downward forces on each side, and there's always kind of micro movement, just like in skate training and balance, right? And that's what it is. And I think in our heads, we want it to be nice and structured, and so you can structure your whole day, right? But you can't always structure everything that comes to you. But I think finding that, realizing that tension is actually success, as opposed to seeing the tension as a terrible thing. I'm also very CBT, called that reframing thing, right? So cognitive behavioral. And so those are my two things. I'm so gonna stop now, because now I just feel like the sassy old person who walks across the street. And,
no, I appreciate your comments. Thank you. And I would say the other thing that I have found most recently helpful after working words from advice from another, mentor colleague is deadlines, like setting a deadline for yourself and sticking to it, but setting deadlines for the other people who are working with you. We have a project ongoing right now that, I have set a deadline and one person out of the 10 responded. And so I sent out an email. I said, well, I'm giving you 2 days. If I hear no other comments, then I'm moving this forward to the next step. And done. I'm not, and I'm not usually like that, but, work's got to get done, right? Who has a mic? Oh.
I just have a couple thoughts too. I really appreciate what you just said. Two things come to my mind. One is really the self-care. I used to spend, you work all week and you're exhausted and you're up all night worrying about what you're not getting done. So on the weekends, I would do 8 or 10 more hours of work. And then I was just miserable all the time. And I realized you still have to take that time for yourself and do the things that feed your soul and bring you joy. And that it's okay if everything's not going to happen the way in the time frame that you want. But then you come to work and you feel guilty that you didn't get anything done, and I should have done this over the weekend, should have done this over the weekend. But so I want to share with you something that Dr. Hines said to me the other day in our monthly meeting that was profound. Because I, like you, always go in and say, my manuscript isn't done, I haven't submitted to the RB yet, these projects are not moving forward the way I want them to. And she said, as researchers, we always want to have a product, a finished product, and we feel like we're not doing something if we don't have our product. You don't walk into Dr. Hines' office with your manuscript ready for submission. And so that made a lot of sense to me. And then she said, think about the things that you've done. You're doing this. You're working on this. You've been working on this person with this. You're working with this department. And pointing out all these things that in my mind they didn't count.
Yeah.
And how many things do we do that we think don't count because it's not that big finished product? And I walked out of that office feeling so much better. I got the best night's sleep I had in a long time because at least I thought, okay, well maybe I am doing something and moving in the right direction, and other things will happen if I keep moving in this direction, but that it doesn't have to be these big massive goals, all the time. That everything.
Celebrate the small successes along the way.
So.
I just learned about something that, I don't know if you've heard of it, and I thought I'd share it. Are you acquainted with the Pomodoro effect?
Yes. Is that a hat? I've got one. Pomodoro, right?
And I think the reason I like this, I think as clinicians, we've been oriented from a habit to deal with the thing that's in front of us, that we respond to the most immediate thing that's occurring. And I think that's why the Pomodoro effect might help. But essentially, you can take a little timer. I have my little snowman at home, and another, and you just set it for 60 minutes, or you set it for whatever period of time, and you establish what it is that you're supposed to focus on during that period of time. It's been so effective now that you can actually, in your Chrome browser, put the Pomodoro in your browser so that you can start your. And I think one of the things that happens is that when we're busy thinking about all the things that we need to get done, sometimes we're not actually productive in the thing in at least one thing.
Right.
And then the other thing that I had a semester where we had to journal about our thinking every morning for a certain period of time. Then we had to walk and then journal some more. And honestly, it was a little crazy because when I'd have to go out to walk, it was like I need to be in doing the thing, but because I believed in the message. And I do think that there's something to that, taking the break and then to be deliberate about the time that you're spending thinking, as in the car.
And I like this quote because I have lots of cracks, and you know, and the cracks sometimes are more than less, but, you know, that's part of what makes me me, and part of what makes my work, unique. So, you know, I really like this. This hat, is my beach hat, because in, 13 days or so, something like that, leaving for the Caribbean. So I'll be calling into the next Conway Chair with an umbrella drink in my hand.
While wearing that hat.
You know, well, I
Leave that at home. Buy a new one.
Other comments, suggestions? It's just gonna solve the problem.
Well, I'm not gonna solve, I'll never solve anything. But I just wanted to sort of thank everyone so far for their comments, because I actually have two different jobs and then also the research, and I definitely feel all of this, and I just so appreciate hearing that other people are having these same thoughts, have some strategies for how they are managing their time. And I do want to say, just sometimes it takes 10 minutes. They does this wonderful, mindful mentor time on Fridays. And so one of my larger responsibilities is as a clinician. And just 2 weeks ago, I had a lot going on. It was a very busy clinical day, plus I think I had a meeting with someone about research, and I was like, oh my gosh. And she said, are you going to come to Mindful Mentors today? And I was like, okay. And then she came around again, are you coming? And I was like, okay. And I went, and I just want to thank you.
And the meditation.
It just, that brief amount of time just helps refocus, helps sort of calm the brain, helps make you think I can do this, you know. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
I think it really is really hard to do clinical work and research, and to get research going when you don't have any protected time and you have a lot of clinical demands, because what's right in front of you is really what you feel the need to take care of first, and understandably so. So, I think getting some protected time and having some funding, which is very hard to do while you have all your clinical work, is really one way that helps you be successful, because if you're trying to get a lot done research-wise without any of that time, I mean, I think you just are going to keep being upset and frustrated, or maybe you have to lower your expectations and not expect to have so much if you really don't have that time set aside. I think the team approach is really fabulous, and absolutely that's how I get the stuff done. I could not, get things out the door if I were doing them all myself, and I think collaboration with others, so it's not just having students and fellows, but being able to collaborate with other researchers where you can share, projects so that you can be more productive, and also maybe come up, add something to their program of research and they can add to yours. I think it's been really successful for me too. But I don't think there's no answer, no magic. No, it's just really hard. I think expectations are really important. You shouldn't have very high ones if you don't have time set aside. Doesn't mean you can't.
I did do a lit review, and yeah, the articles that are published say exactly that. Like, there is a magic answer. There's, you have to collaborate. You have to just find the time. And so,
I really appreciate what you were just saying, and something, sorry, I didn't mean to hog the microphone. Something jumped into my head when you were saying that. I think as clinicians, we're so used to having almost instant gratification. If I do this, the patient's going to have this response, or hopefully, things they change so fast in the clinical world. And in the research world, they move so slowly that it's hard to, you have to really have a different expectation in your brain that the research stuff that we're doing or trying to do in the middle of all our clinical stuff, it's not going to move at the same pace that we expect it to.
right.
And that's something I struggle with all the time.
And you said something, or I think it was you said earlier, about celebrating small successes. And I think that piggybacking onto that is also recognizing the small successes in others. So for you, Lisa, to say something about the wonderful work that Vicki is doing, those kinds of things are really important as well. So you can nurture others by celebrating their own small successes when you see something that's been really helpful in your collaboration with them or whatever, because we all have things going on in our lives, professionally and personally, that not everybody knows about. So, we're all trying to struggle with all those things, and to have somebody say, oh, wow, this one little thing made a difference for me, I think that that's really key to, and I do get those. I'm not asking now for everybody to go around the room and tell me something, but I think that those are really important too. Now we can all talk about Vicki.
No, I want to talk about you.
We have about 5 minutes left, so.
I was just going to say, some of the things I've been trying to do for myself this year is set boundaries. Because email can take over your life. I found myself on weekends, getting to the computer, answering emails. I teach students who expect, that they'll turn around and answer in about an hour or something like that. And I get all their kind of comments of, I'll say, when do you want to meet to talk? Oh, I'm available at 6 o'clock. Well, that's not, I'm done. I'm fading. So I was trying to set up boundaries that work is work and weekends and evenings are mine and with my family. Now, I just need to answer the question of how I stay caught up, because I've gotten very, very behind on everything. But I'm trying to kind of keep that separation and say, because my family, your family feels like you've got your face in the iPhone all the time answering emails or your computer. So that's been important to me to try and carve that time. But I'm still looking for answers here.
I don't have any. So talking more, now you can't believe anything I say. I am not an organized or detailed person. That is not self-deprecating. That is just an observation that if any of y'all saw me for a week or two, you'd be like, okay. I encourage my collaborators to, one, lie to me about deadlines, totally fine, as well as I have given them all permission to say to me, have you forgotten this? I haven't heard you mention it, and as I like to say, because I'm not married to them, I won't get mad. So, I won't get mad when my husband comes to remind me of things. But I read a book called, there was a British novel out when I was a postdoc, so more than a minute ago, called I Don't Know How She Does It. It was a novel. Anyway, it was a staple among working mothers at the time, and that would be like 2001. And a new book has come out by, not a researcher, right, Laura Vanderkam. She's a journalist. She writes some for USA Today. But if you stumble across kind of a popular press, like Time You Study or Busyness something, she's probably associated with it in some way. And she wrote a book called I Know How She Does It. And so what she did is it was fascinating. She had these women all busy, successful women, keep time logs for a week. So I was like, again, no sense of detail here. I was like, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it for 2 weeks. Because I was delusional. And so every 30 minutes, I had a timer go off, and I'd turn to my little Excel sheet on my laptop and type in either what I was doing or what I was going to do. And I have to say, one, it gave me a sense of appreciation of how much I do and do get done, and two, it was very much like the Pomodoro effect, where once I was thinking in kind of 30-minute increments, I was like, oh, okay, I could probably get this done before the next time I have to turn around, right? And I was stunned, because in research, like you said, it's slow, and there's always so much to do, and there's always so much clinical follow-up to do, to see that, wow, I worked 9 hours today, and I didn't feel like I made a dent, but wow, I actually did a good bit. It built far more self-efficacy in me than I expected. So I don't know how she does it, Laura Vanderkam. That's my book plug for the day.
Thank you so much.
Debbie, thank you hugely for leading the conversation today. That was fun. And thank you all for this conversation. We have made an incredible list of 16 strategies. Maybe, and if you would like to get a copy of these, just let me know, because we'll be typing them up and sending them out. I'm so appreciative of all of them. You do have hard jobs. They're important jobs, and you are making a difference. So thank you. And we're meeting again, third Tuesday of December. December, Dr. Lisa Rainey will be leading that conversation with a panel, How Do You Change Systems of Care? We're thinking of the real title, and we're thinking of food as well. Of course, if you have a suggestion, let us know. And I hope you won't leave without stopping at the food bar before you leave. Please take some with you as well. Special thanks to every one of you for being here.
I was